This is Chris with Ales. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris with Ales, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both my TikToks. They'll all be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my WWE Friday Night SmackDown December 2nd, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Friday Night SmackDown. Now we kick off the show with the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn, the Bloodline. So yeah, the Bloodline makes their way down to the ring. Roman ain't with them or nothing. So yeah, I don't even think he's on SmackDown tonight at all. But yeah, the Bloodline makes their way down to the ring, and pretty much are happy and stuff. Sami was talking about how the Bloodline won at War Games and stuff like that, and then Jimmy Uso cuts him off. He goes like, no, it's about you tonight. You're the one that helped us get the victory at War Games and all that, and it's all about you. And, you know, Sami was so happy about that, and then they all start doing their handshakes and stuff, him and Jay and Jimmy and all that stuff. So, yeah, they was getting excited and all that stuff. But then they get interrupted by Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch, the Brawling Brutes. And Sheamus was talking about how it's open fight night, how he wants to fight tonight. He'll be fighting Sami Zayn. And then we get the match underway. Sami Zayn versus Sheamus one-on-one. Everybody else was at ringside for this match. And it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth and everything. At one point, we see Sami Zayn jump off the top turnbuckle, getting hit with a flying knee to the face by Sheamus. Got pinned, but he barely kicked out at 2. But then at one point, we seen Jimmy Uso getting on the ring apron while Sami Zayn distracted the referee. Jimmy kicks Sheamus upside the head, and then that's when Sami comes up hitting the blue thunderbomb onto Sheamus, pins him, but Sheamus barely kicking out at 2 right there. And then at one point we see the Usos keep on trying to get involved in this match, and then the Brawling Brutes went at it with the Usos outside the ring, brawling with them and everything. And then Solo Sikoa comes up, spinning Solo onto Butch on the barricade, laying him out, and then hitting Rich Holland with a super kick, which took him over the barricade and stuff, laying him out as well. And then we get to the very ending where Sami Zayn was trying to hit the Helluva kick on the Sheamus, but Sheamus runs up to him and hits a knee to the face, and then he was setting up for the and then he picks him up, trying to hit like an Alabama slam onto Sami Zayn, but then Jimmy Uso pops up on one side of the apron, distracting the referee, and then that allows Jay to get into the ring, hitting a super kick onto Sheamus, and Sami rolling him up for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Sami Zayn defeated Sheamus tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. That's what happened. It was a pretty good match. Go check it out if you have yet. I'll give that match 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a really good match between Sami Zayn and Sheamus. Really good stuff. So yeah, that's what happened. Really great match. But then after that, we see like a video package type thing from Santos Escobar with Legado del Fantasma, where he's talking about how he's going to win the World Cup and go and win the Intercontinental Championship and all that. So yeah, that's what Santos was saying. And later on tonight, he will be taking on Ricochet in the finals of the World Cup tournament. Winner of that match not only wins the World Cup, but they become the number 1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. So yeah, that match will be happening later on tonight on SmackDown, and many more stuff on SmackDown tonight. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, now before I talk about the match between Shayna Baszler and Emma, we got to talk about a few segments. Now, one of the first segments we seen backstage was Kofi Kingston getting interviewed backstage, and he says that he's going to be announcing that he is the first superstar to announce his entry into the Royal Rumble match. So yeah, he will be the first entry now in the Rumble match that he has announced. But then after that, he gets interrupted by Imperium. Imperium comes up interrupting him, and Kingston was like, I have a match against either one of you guys. And then Gunther comes up talking about, okay, cool, you can have your match against me tonight. So yeah, later on tonight, it'll be Gunther versus Kofi Kingston one-on-one. I bet that match is going to be a great one. So yeah, that match will be happening later on tonight. But then we get to another segment where we see Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt was talking about LA Knight, about how he was not the one that attacked LA Knight or anything like that. That if he did attack LA Knight, everybody would definitely know about it because it would have been way more dangerous than what has been happening. So yeah, that's what Bray Wyatt said about that situation. But then we get to another one where we see Shayna Baszler already make her way down to the ring. Emma was about to make her way down to the ring. Madcap Moss was talking to her backstage, and Madcap Moss was pretty much telling her, "Hey, it's all good. When you go out there, people will remember you. Obviously, it's been 5 years, but you're a trailblazer and all that stuff. So yeah, you don't got nothing to worry about because you're Emma." And yeah, Emma was like, "Okay, cool." She goes out and gave like Madcap a kiss on the cheek, and they go out for the match. And it was Shayna Baszler versus Emma one-on-one, and it was an okay match. At the ending, we see pretty much Shayna Baszler going after Emma's arm majority of this match, and then we see Emma actually lock on the tarantula. I can't even say it. Onto Shayna Baszler on the ropes and stuff, and then Emma finally lets go because the referee almost got to the count of 5. She climbs up the top turnbuckle. Shayna kicks her upside the head, and then pulls her right down off the top turnbuckle, and then locks on the Kitafuda clutch onto Emma, making her tap out. So yeah, Shayna Baszler defeated Emma tonight on SmackDown. And then, after the match ended, Shayna Baszler starts attacking Emma after the match, going after her arm and stuff. But then we see Shotzi making her way down, trying to save Emma, and then she gets beaten down. And then Shayna was about to stomp on her arm, and then Raquel Rodriguez comes running down. And then she's on the apron, and then Emma finally gets up, and Shotzi gets up. And Shayna was like, "You know what? Nah, I think I'm good. 3-on-1, not fair. I'm out." So yeah, that's what happened there. But for that match and stuff, I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was okay and all that stuff. So yeah, that's why I'll give the match. But up next, we're going to be seeing Kofi Kingston versus Gunther 1-on-1 up next, and later on tonight we will see Ricochet versus Santos Escobar 1-on-1 as well in the finals. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, now before I talk about the match, there was a few cool video packages that they showed. One of Lacey Evans, which was pretty cool, and one of Ricochet when he's talking about how he's going to win the World Cup tournament and all that stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool video packages that WWE did for them. So yeah. But then we get to the match. It was the Intercontinental Champion Gunther with Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci Imperium versus Kofi Kingston 1-on-1. Now, Xavier Woods is not there tonight, so yeah. But yeah, Kofi Kingston versus Gunther 1-on-1 in a non-title match. And this match was a pretty good match. At one point, we see Braun Strowman making his way down to the ring, pretty much chasing off Imperium, so they wouldn't get involved in this match. And then at one point, we see Kingston actually hit the SOS onto Gunther, but Gunther barely kicking out too. And yeah, it was back and forth and everything. Pretty good match. But then we get to the very ending of this match where we see Gunther hitting a vicious drop kick on Kofi Kingston in the corner, and then he hits the power bomb onto him and then pins him 1-2. Kofi Kingston barely kicking out at 2. Gunther lifts him up, Kingston slaps him, and then Gunther slaps him back, lifts him up, and hits a sit-out power slam pretty much, and they call it the Last Sympathy, which is his new finish move now. So yeah, he hit it on Kofi Kingston and then pinned him for the 1-2-3. So yeah, Gunther defeated Kofi Kingston tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. That's what happened. Pretty good match. Go check it out if you have yet. For that match, I'll give it 3.5 stars. That's why I'll give it really good match. But then, after the match ended, we see the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Jimmy and Jay the Usos, Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn backstage. And Sami was talking about, "Hey guys, let's go out to this bar or whatever." And the Usos was like, "Let Solo go with you because, you've been making a lot of enemies, so, so we gotta make sure that you don't get attacked." And he was like, "Okay, fine." And then him and Solo walks away, and then Jimmy was talking to Jay about, how do you feel about him lying to your face last week? And Jay was like, "Well, you know what? I talked to the Big Oos, and he was perfectly fine with everything, and you already see what happened at War Games, so I think I'm perfectly fine with it now." So yeah, that's what he said, and then all of a sudden they both get attacked by Sheamus. Sheamus attacked them with the shillelagh, beating them down. And he says, "Good luck in y'all's match on Raw, and me and McIntyre will be waiting for you." So yeah, that's what Sheamus said. But yeah, pretty good stuff. Later on tonight, Ricochet versus Santos Escobar in the finals of the World Cup tournament. Still to come tonight. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday night, SmackDown, we got the next segment. We see Bayley and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, Damage Control, make their way down to the ring, and they start talking about war games and stuff, how they lasted over 90 minutes and all that combined. And the fans started chatting Becky. She goes like, well, you know what, I was going to give appreciation somewhat to Becky, but you know what, since y'all cheering for her, screw her. I don't care. So yeah, that's what she was saying. Then she mentions about the SmackDown locker room, how it's a shame that the SmackDown women's locker room did not want to stand up at War Games or nothing like that against Damage Control, because they know what Damage Control is all about and they're afraid of them and all that stuff. But then all of a sudden, Liv Morgan comes walking down. She goes like, well, I'm not afraid of y'all. Let's go. 3 against 1. I'm down with the odds. And then she comes running down, drags Dakota Kai out of the ring, throws her into the barricade, and then Io Sky comes out and she throws her into steel steps. She gets in the ring with Bayley, both of them brawling and stuff. But then, of course, the number starts catching up. Damage Control beating down Liv Morgan and stuff. But then, all of a sudden, Tegan Nox makes her return. So yeah, she comes down, returning, and attacks Damage Control, beating them down and stuff, but then obviously the number starts catching up with her, and then we see Liv Morgan come in there with the kendo stick, beating down Damage Control with it, and then at the ending we see Tegan Nox hitting the world's shiniest wizard onto Bayley, laying her out. So yeah, that's what happened there, and Tegan Nox and Liv Morgan was standing tall. But yeah, that's what happened. Tegan Nox returns and saves Liv Morgan from Damage Control. Pretty good segment though. But up next it'll be the main event. It will be Ricochet versus Santos Escobar 1-on-1 in the finals of the World Cup tournament. Up next in the main event. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday night, SmackDown was the main event. But before I talk about the main event, there was a few things we got to talk about. So they announced some matches on Raw. You got the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships being defended. The Usos will be taking on Elias and Matt Riddle. And winner of that match will be taking on Drew McIntyre and Sheamus for the Tag Team titles on SmackDown next week. So yeah, those are the matches announced for next week for Raw and SmackDown. So yeah, and then we get to pretty much a thing with Karrion Kross and Scarlett talking. Now, Karrion Kross is showing these cards. He says that, went against Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre stuff, but then he shows a card of the Emperor, and it was Rey Mysterio. So yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing a feud between Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. So yeah, we'll get to see that one for sure. But that's what it looks like it's going to be happening. And after that, we see Bray Wyatt's thing going on with Uncle Howdy and stuff, which was pretty cool. But then we get to the next match. It was the main event. It was Ricochet versus Santos Escobar 1-on-1 in the finals of the World Cup tournament, and Zelina Vega was on commentary for this match. So yeah, it was a back and forth match. At one point we see Ricochet hitting a shooting star press off the top turnbuckle, and Santos puts his knees up and Ricochet lands on his knees. Santos goes for the pin. 1, 2, Ricochet barely kicking out 2. And then after that we see Santos hitting a Frankensteiner on a Ricochet, pins him again, 1, 2, Ricochet barely kicking out 2. And then at one point we see Santos trying to hit the Phantom Driver onto Ricochet, but Ricochet reverses it by rolling him up for the 2 count, and Santos kicked out 2. And then at the ending, Santos brings Ricochet up on the top turnbuckle so he can hit the Phantom Driver off of there. But Ricochet starts fighting back and then hits a avalanche Frankensteiner onto Santos off the top turnbuckle. And then Santos gets back up to his feet. Ricochet then hits a jumping knee to the face, and then a super kick, and then a big roundhouse kick onto Santos, which finally knocked him down. Ricochet climbs at the top turnbuckle, jumps off with a 630 splash onto Santos, and then pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Ricochet defeated Santos Escobar tonight on SmackDown. He is the World Cup winner now, and yeah, he'll be taking on Gunther in 2 weeks for the Intercontinental Championship. So yeah, Ricochet goes up the ramp, pulls up the trophy and all that stuff, and then Gunther comes out, and both of them face to face. So in 2 weeks, they will be taking on each other in a one-on-one match for the IC title. For that match between Ricochet and Santos, I'll give it 4 stars. That's why I'll give it really good match. That's match of the night for me, easily, right there. That match was really good. Gunther versus Kofi Kingston was another good one, and Sheamus versus Sami Zayn was a good one as well. But yeah, that has been my Friday Night SmackDown reviews for tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. I'll give it 7 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good episode of SmackDown. So yeah, that's why I'll give it. But yeah, like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both my TikToks. They'll all be down there in the description box. And yeah, I'll see you guys later for this Monday's Monday Night Raw reviews. See you guys later. Until then.